Welcome to Momtroversal, the podcast that dives headfirst into the beautiful chaos of motherhood and dishes on the stuff that we wish we would have known and nobody tells you. This is your tribe for informed consent and unfiltered real talk. I'm Leah, your scrunchy nurse riding the Hot Mess Express. I'm your girl's girl, here to remind you that it's fine, we're fine, everything's fine.
Melissa, a crunchy mom who's all about organic living with a side of mac and cheese. I'm organized, opinionated, and your designated wing woman.
And I'm Tori, your ride or die chaos coordinator who will absolutely hold your baby and your secrets, here to get in the trenches with the filters off and the vibes real. Okay, so what's everyone reading right now?
Actually, contrary to Alyssa's disbelief when I tell her, just finished the Plated Prisoner series.
Blah, blah, blah.
I just
I have to
finished.
go
I
retch.
literally just finished. I was in
Okay,
between
did you
because I
think it was
finished
the
Kindred's
stupidest
Curse.
ending ever?
I do have to say I didn't love the sixth book. I felt like the fifth book was this like weird in between, and you almost expected. The fifth book reminded me of like how Throne of Glass, where
Whoa,
spoiler
that is
alert if you're reading
heresy.
Throne of
You
Glass.
cannot
No.
compare those two. Heresy! Lightning!
But you know-
Where's the lightning?
Rock her down. Strike her down.
Sorry, go ahead.
You know how in a certain part of the series, to not spoil it for people who haven't read it if they're interested in reading it, there is a certain two people who like a book ends with them separated, and then the beginning of the next book is like they're separate, like trying to get back to each other.
Yep, that's
The
a
worst
good
part of my
segue
life, yeah.
later into what Alyssa and I are reading.
True.
I felt like the fifth book was like that, like that's how the fourth ended and the fifth started, and like I was expecting them to like get reconnected in the fifth book, and it never happened. Like they stayed disconnected into the sixth book, and then it was halfway through the sixth book that like these two characters got back together, and then like everything rapid fire at the end was like that wrapped up, that wrapped up, that wrapped up, that wrapped up, and I'm like, wait a minute, I feel like this was too much wrapping up too fast, that like I don't really feel super content with how it ended. But I finished it because I didn't know what else to read, because I'm like hungover from the Kindred Curse saga, waiting for the fourth book to come out. So I was like, I just need something to like get me over, like just into something else. So I just finished that book literally like 3 days ago.
Man, more power to you. I couldn't even get through the first one, but that's because I was hungover from One Dark Window, and that was such a vibe
good.
that like
What's One
Plated-
Dark Window?
Stop it
it's
right
like-
now. You ever read that? That's your next read.
Is that a fantasy?
Okay.
Is that like a romantasy?
So it's not romantasy.
Kind of.
It's like gothic fantasy almost. It's
Yeah.
super different than what we usually read. It's like
but it's good.
it's so freaking good, dude.
Let me add it to
think
my to be read.
I don't think I've ever cried as much at the end of a book than I did at the last book of that. It's a duo.
One Dark Ending.
No, window.
No,
One dark
window.
window.
Okay.
And it does have one dark ending. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not wrong.
I mean, oh man, it was like, it really took you through it, like all the things. And it was so different. Like, man, you got to read it. I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I just added it to my list.
Well, Tori and I are reading. We're on the last book of Throne of Glass. We're doing a reread
Again.
literally 2 months after we reread it, but it's our Roman Empire. We're on Kingdom of Ashes, the last book, and I don't know about you, Tori, but like I'm like simultaneously like just like devouring it, and also like, oh, it's gonna end. Do I
Trying to
just have to
savor
start
it?
it all
Yeah.
over again? Do I have to find
No, you
another
read
book
the
to
Kindred
read?
Curse
Like,
saga. Kindred
no,
Curse.
I'm not reading that
Kindred
until it's
Curse.
done.
Kindred Curse. It's almost done. She's
Especially-
gonna release the fourth book in the fall.
Well, especially if I'm not going to like the girl character at first, then I
touche.
just need it to be a finished series to have that push for me. Or else, you know, but I will read it for sure.
How
Just
far in are you
not
to
yet.
Kingdom of Ash?
That's a good question, because I bought the like big like
Like
the
all of
set
them in
on
one?
Kindle, but that means it's like all one book, so I'm 85% in. But to all of the books, like I don't know.
Where are you at in the story?
Has he found her
This
yet?
isn't really a spoiler.
Spoiler
What? Oh,
alert!
yeah.
If you're reading Throne
Yeah,
of Glass,
a while
and you haven't
ago.
read Throne of Glass,
A while ago.
fast forward.
Okay.
There you go. Spoiler alert. Dorian
Trigger
just
warning.
found Aelin and
Oh, you're far
the
in there.
army from the southern continent. Yeah. So they're
Okay.
about to do their thing. Which that is
I'm
one of the
just-
things that annoys me about this book is that like it takes Aelin so long to be like, oh, I wonder if we can do it together. And then she pushes him out anyways, but whatever.
I
Like
know.
that's just
Dirt?
like the
What
whole
the
thing.
heck?
I'm like, there's two of them. If it takes one life force, what if two of them just gave half of their life force? Like for so long, I'm thinking this the first time I'm reading it, and then the second time I'm reading it because I can't really remember it. And then I'm like, I just feel
Come
like
on.
the common sense wasn't all there.
Well, I think with Aelin, it's like, you know, because I'm in the part where she's still in the iron coffin, and like
Ugh,
Rowan,
that's just
she just,
depressing the whole time.
it was
So
just the like
depressing.
Fireheart, why do you cry that part? That just happened.
Ugh,
And it's where she's like banging
yeah,
on the lid.
yeah.
But she's like saying all these things. She's like, you know, I'm never gonna get out of here, but it was worth the sacrifice, like everything for Terrason, like all that. And I think that like that was her, like she feels like because she abandoned her people for 10 years as an 8-year-old child, like go figure,
When she was a child, yeah.
that she deserves to die versus like Dorian, she doesn't feel like he like deserves it, you know, like he was always like the faithful little princeling. And
But was he though? Because he just stood by while his father just like destroyed whole peoples.
I mean, maybe he dissociated from his life, you know.
Well, even he talks about how he could have done something
I
at
was
some
like,
point.
that's just so
I don't know.
dark.
I just feel like if Aylin's gonna hold herself to that standard, then she has to hold Dorian to that standard. Because yes, he was a child too, but like
You and
at
I are
some point he
giggling, and
wasn't.
Melissa's just like,
What is so funny? This is serious.
Melissa's just steamrolling past it.
What happened? Guys, I was homeschooled. You have to tell me the joke. Bree.
The public school kids are ganging up on the homeschool kid right now. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just said
Breathe.
maybe he dissociated from his life, and Leo's like, oh, that got dark really quick.
I heard that.
You just
Okay.
kept steamrolling as we're like giggling. I like
It just got funnier and funnier the longer you kept talking, like legitimately about it. Like,
I feel strongly.
and hey, this is
I feel
one of the
strongly.
things we absolutely love about you.
love it so
And
much.
the wing woman you want in all things. Like, no chaos behind her is going to get to her. Like, she's going to get her point across, period. You're meant to have like 5, 6, 7 children. I feel like you're just going to absolutely rock and
watch
roll.
your mouth. Watch your mouth.
She's gonna be driving a 15-passenger van down the street.
Hey,
No, do you know that
Nissan
was my
van's
first
actually
vehicle
really-
when I started driving?
15 van?
Well, it was converted, so it was a 10-passenger, but yes. Homeschool.
Semantics.
It was like to the point, like, because I went to a community college for my junior and senior years, and my friends like could pick my van out of the whole parking lot because, like, you know, it was ginormous and it was red. It wasn't even like.
Oh, I was just about to ask what
normal
color was it. Please don't let it be white.
Yeah.
That's just all.
No, it was red.
All those things. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, what are we talking about today? Are we done with? Well, Tori, you didn't really give any of your input
About what?
on Throne of Glass.
I mean, you said everything we needed to say. It's our Roman Empire.
Okay.
Like, probably gonna have to read it again really soon.
Like,
But no,
what?
I think I'm gonna read Crescent City next because I want to have the whole
maybe
scope.
I'll read that with you.
By the time Akatar 6 comes out, oh my gosh, public school grammar. There you
We'll
go.
be like 47 when Akatar 6
It's
comes
gonna be
out.
the running joke this episode. Public school versus homeschool.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do Crescent City next because I
you
want to
read it
read.
already?
No, I haven't.
It's okay. It's extremely different than
I
her
know.
other
So I've
series.
actually started it like 3 times, like just the first few pages, and I couldn't even
Really?
get past the first few pages because I just wasn't vibing. You know, like I was like, there wasn't
she
anything
rips
wrong
your
with
heart
it.
out
Yeah.
in like the first 2 chapters. Like just rips,
Great.
just absolutely.
Like Rebecca
Kinda
Yarros
sucks.
style rips, or like what?
I don't know. It was awful. I cried the first time I read it within
Oh.
the first 5 chapters.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I didn't like the series, but I'm invested in the world, so I might reread it with you.
All right. Well, we're gonna.
I won't reread it with you.
Coming up on. We have to make big decisions on what's next on the TBR. So TBD on
I'm
the
moving
TBR,
across
you
the
guys.
country. I can't handle this.
Today,
what to
we
do.
are tackling what to expect when PCSing to Korea as military families, from flights to pet shipping to getting that sofa stamp. We're going to break down the must-knows to make your move smoother. It's a wild ride, and we've all got stories. So let's start off
Do
with
we
what
ever?
is do we ever getting here? I don't know. Well, first of all, let's do if you can give me like you have 90 seconds to pitch me what your PCS experience getting to Korea was like. We're on an elevator. We're going to the 11th floor. You got to tell me everything before I get off. What was your experience getting here?
Okay, the flight feels like it's a million hours. Like it just feels like it's never gonna end because you chase the daylight the whole way here. There's absolutely no food, like unless except for the plain food. Like they do serve you meals. We took the Patriot Express here, so they serve you like airplane food. Okay, airplane. So if you're picky, just pack your snacks.
Pack your
It's a
snacks,
little
man. Just
pack your
pack them.
snacks. Period. That is like my biggest piece of advice. Pack food because I was 16
It's
weeks
nasty.
pregnant and didn't get a meal for like the whole day because there was no food in our landing point in Japan and there was no food when we got here. So, and just be prepared for it to take like 4 or 5 times as long as you think it will. Have no expectations. Expectation management. That's really what this boils down to. Expect to not be fed, expect to wait forever, expect to be really tired, expect to feel like you're never going to get there, and just expect the worst and hope for the best. That's actually my military motto, period, right there. Plan for the worst, hope for the
Be
best.
disappointed.
That's just what like
So
that's just life though.
yeah, so true. We flew commercial here,
Oh, nice.
which if you're flying out not on a Tuesday or a Thursday, you can fly commercial. So highly recommend. On the way out, we're having to get an ETP to do that. Shoot, I don't even know what that stands for. Exception of policy. But on the way here, we didn't have to. We just had to not be flying Tuesday or Thursday. So that was easy. But one thing that we flew straight here. We had a straight through flight and Ryan got here a few weeks earlier than us. And so we went straight into our apartment here and it was great. We did
Wow.
not stay
I
lodging.
love that for you.
We
It's like
Yeah, we
COVID
were only
times,
out our
straight
household
in.
goods for a week. Yeah. Literally a week later, our household goods showed up. So
That's super
highly
nice.
recommend if you can fly with the kids by yourself, if you can like figure out how to handle that or like get someone to fly out with you or something like that. It made the transition so much easier.
A little thing
So
to tack on
highly
if you
recommend.
can't do that, but you can ship your household goods like 2+ months in advance so they meet you here.
Oh yeah,
That makes the
do it.
transition super easy too. That's like any
Mm,
Oconus. Any Oconus. That's a
do it.
good thing.
Because on base, it's not that bad. You can walk to a lot of places, but off base, you're
Mhm.
kind of like SOL without your stuff.
Little bit.
Dude, so we were literally saying this to my neighbors last week. I was 28 weeks pregnant when we
That's
came
crazy.
here, and it was the beginning of June that we got here. And we
Ugh.
didn't have our household goods all of June and July. And I had my 18-month-old little Declan. And I literally remember having nothing, roaming the streets of our neighborhood because we had one
All you
vehicle.
could do.
That's all I could do, and I was big belly pregnant, and everyone in my neighborhood's like this freaking crazy pregnant lady walking up and down the streets in like this 100-degree weather with 80% humidity. Like, what are you doing right now? And I vividly remember that. And I said this last week. I'm like, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I survived. Like, I'm like melting outside right now. It's
Yeah.
July here. And for us, we found out like my Korea experience, I can summarize it in like 2 sentences. We found out our flight information 36 hours before we were leaving San Antonio
Ooh,
to come to Korea. That's the flight we were on. That's the time we were leaving.
it's fun.
We had to be there V square. And it was a red eye. It was like we were leaving San Antonio at 6 a.m. So that's how we got here. And I feel like the rest of my Korea time has just followed
Same
the
trajectory.
unexpected, and it's usually the shorter end of the stick. So, what is one thing that you wish somebody had just spelled out for you guys about PCSing here? So, something that you had to figure out about getting here, transitioning here, whatnot on your own that you wish somebody could have just spelled out for you that we can spell out for them instead.
The car situation. We touched on it a little bit, but I wish I had like really understood the car situation. I didn't even know that there were US spec cars and Korean spec cars. I just assumed all cars were cars.
Cars.
Like, who cares? It's a car.
Car's a car.
And like the access or lack thereof that we'll have to US spec cars and all of that kind of stuff. I wish that
So
someone had
you
said
shipped your
something about
car,
that.
right? Because your CRV is yours that you shipped here.
Yeah.
So what did that look like for you? Because Tori and I didn't ship any cars here, so I have no insight.
Oh, I shipped a car here,
Okay.
just one.
But you did ship a car here, but was it from the States or Germany? No, Arizona is from States.
The States. We had to drive it to San Diego and ship it from San Diego.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
had to drive ours from Oklahoma to Dallas and ship it, and they're super super picky stateside at least. You know, it had to be perfectly cleaned, it had to be washed on the outside. I'm sure it's like pollen transfer and all that crap, but like it was annoying. They wouldn't even let us keep a car seat in there. The car seats are allowed. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something I would
Really
start
pissed
for
me off.
anybody here is
Yeah.
have that policy then ready so you don't encounter that.
Yeah, because Ryan was in charge of that and he's not as opinionated as I am. Or dedicated, you could say,
Detail
maybe is a nice way
oriented.
to put it.
As he's listening through this later. Sorry,
He's a
Ryan.
soldier.
Love
He
you.
follows orders and they
We
said
love
you
our
can't have the car
producer.
seat and he said okay. We love him. He's great.
So the
But
website
yeah,
where you can
just
find
stuff like
that
that.
is PCS My POV. That's like all where all the policies are, what documents you need. Like it's pretty their website's actually pretty great. So I know usually at like transportation they give you that, but in case you have like a bad transportation department, PCSmyPOV.com or gov or org or something like that. But if you just Google
But
that,
it
it'll
wasn't
bring you.
like that crazy. But it did take, I think, 60 days for our car to get here. So if you can again plan for that, do it because it will be very helpful. But also if you're going to buy a second car here, maybe it doesn't matter that much. You can survive with one
True.
car
Yeah.
while you're here. Especially if you're on base, you really can survive with one car.
If you're off base, I wouldn't recommend it. We did 7 months of one car, and my biggest regret is taking so long to get a second car for my mental well-being, hands down. But that's because you guys lived on post. Yeah, here you did 6
Yes.
months without a
Yeah.
second car.
Correct. Yeah.
So, with shipping a car, was there specific paperwork that you guys had to get in order that somebody who's PCSing here would need to know about or know where to find it? Or is it that PCS.pov website you mentioned, Tori?
Yeah.
All of
It's the
it is
website.
on there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it spells it out pretty well on the website.
Okay. So, everything you need to know then about shipping your car is on that website. Then we'll have Ryan put it in the like show notes for anybody who's interested in that. 60 days is roughly the shipping time for it. So plan accordingly either on one end or the other. What about you, Tori? What is something that you had a hard time figuring out about getting here that you wish somebody could have helped you with?
I wish someone would have really spelled out the realtor situation for me because I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you guys have differing opinions, but like I feel like when someone asks about it, everyone on the support page is really quick to jump on and be like, you don't know if you're going to live off post because it's space available and blah 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 blah. And like people don't really get like direct answers a lot of times because you know you got the Karens of the group who are just like, well, you don't really know, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It just like, I was really frustrated by that. And I didn't really know that we could kind of shop around with realtors and like, you know, that realtors had like, first of all, a realtor here in Korea is like nothing like a realtor in America, like not even close.
Yep.
Like realtors are basically like brokers for owners of properties here where everyone has technically access to all the same properties, but like, you know, everyone has different connections and stuff like that. Same like the realtors in the States, but they're not actually selling you a home. They are the middleman essentially between you and the owners of the homes. And, you know, I don't have any like real significant issues with our realtor. I know a lot of people have like really amazing ones or like really horrible experiences. I say ours is like pretty good, but I feel like when we were like asking around like where we wanted to live and like what our kind of requirements were, and we did not get here in the peak of PCS season. We got here in like mid-September. So there should have been like, you know, I feel like a little bit more available for what we were asking for. And it was like 3 houses. He's like, this is all we have. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, so I just wish I would have known that you could ask other realtors, like that they had access to other stuff and like, you know, maybe seen some variety of properties or like that that someone would have mapped out like these are kind of some of the neighborhoods near these gates. And like, kind of in relation to like, I feel like we got a really great place. We live near Asan Techno Valley, which is like a cute little like mini Korean city. But we live in the farmland. So it's kind of like you turn one way, you look at this like cityscape, and you turn the other way, you see rice fields. It's kind of cool. And we live like 15 minutes, roughly 15 to 20 roughly from every gate. So it's like, it's pretty convenient where we live. But I know there's like neighborhoods that are like right outside of Gate and right outside of Charlton and like, like a little bit more convenient, like maybe I don't know. I wish I would have known how that worked and like that I could ask around and
I would
I don't know,
say
just understanding that a little better.
Yeah, and on the gate thing that you were saying, like, not all the gates are 24-hour gates either. So you might be 1 minute outside Charlton Gate, but Charlton Gate is only open 5 AM to 7 PM. So
Monday through
then
Friday.
you're going out Adams Gate, and you're not actually 1 minute away, you're like 15, and that kinda thing.
Well,
Adams
versus
Gate
like
and
if
Union
you
Gates
live
are the
outside of
24-hour
Yoon,
gates.
they're open 24 hours. So you could get on post within
24/7.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like whenever you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I just wish I would have understood the lay of the land and how the realtor situation worked in housing and like kind of had just more of like an overview of how that was kind of worked because I think we were kind of like, oh, like we have to make a decision like today, like to get in this house. And like, of course you want to get out of the hotel. No, we were only in the hotel for like not even 10 days. I think it was like 8 days or something like that. Yeah, because we actually moved into our house the day after my birthday, I say. It's like yeah, so it was like 8 or 9 days in the hotel, it wasn't super bad. It's kind of a nice transition between the two things, but, never know how long it's gonna take. And here, they don't like to give you a lot of time. They like to give you, like, 2 weeks to find a place. 2 or 3 weeks.
To
I
just
think it's like
live
10
for
days, and then you
years.
like ask them to like extend past 10 days.
Yeah,
At
and they
least
don't
we got
like
here, that's
to.
what it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a
Yeah.
little picky
I would
here.
say on the side of on-post housing, we got on-post housing, and my Ryan called me. He went to housing, and he was like, "There's nothing for 6 months." He calls me, and I'm like also, I think I was like 22 weeks pregnant at the time, and I just, like, burst into tears because I was like, "I cannot deal with these freaking Korean appliances. All I've heard is that you can't
That's
cook
the
in the
thing.
oven, and I need to be able to cook, and I have to bake my cupcake, like, I'll die." And so I was like, you have to go back," because that was the other thing I'd heard. Just go back every day, it changes every day. So he goes back
Mm,
literally, I think it was 12 hours later, because he called me when I woke up, and then he called me again right before I was gonna go to sleep. And he's like, "Yeah, no, housing says they'll have a place for us in 2 weeks." And I was like, "Am I happy we have a place on post, or am I mad that they seem this incompetent?" Like, nothing changed in 12 hours. You can't tell me anything changed in 12 hours, and there were multiple empty apartments when we moved in. I was
They told us the same
I just
thing, so I'm a little
I
like
didn't even
triggered.
know
We
how
need
to
to go
feel.
back and push.
Yeah,
yeah,
so if you
us
want to
too.
live on post, you can live on post, but you have to be annoying, and you just gotta suck it up and go in every single day and say, "I wanna live on post. I wanna live on post. Find me a spot." And if you're only qualified for a 3-bedroom, but all they have available is the 4-bedroom, they have to give you the 4-bedroom. If there's something available, they have to give it to you.
I
Yeah,
hope people are taking
So,
notes.
I know.
but they're
Another
just
thing about
liars.
that
I
is
hate
like
housing.
if you go in and they won't extend your thing any longer and they're like kicking you out, like you have to live off post, there's a thing you can sign saying like I
Yeah.
don't want to live off post and if like and put you on the list and when something comes available, the army will pay to move you on post. However, a little caveat to that, we have been on the list for 21 months now and have not received a call. So just saying it might
There's a
never come.
pecking order. Like, the new people PCSing in get priority.
Yeah, I think if we went in there
And
and made a
I'm
stink about
sure they
it, they might
just
magically
yeah,
find us a
I'm
place,
sure
but
they
we've
just
never
skip you and
never done so.
don't do their job. So because housing
Travis
doesn't
gets
do their
triggered about
job.
housing too because it really is. You have to you have to be adamant with certain things when you come here because it's all about who you talk to. Like because there really are people who like are good at what they do, and then there are people who are like not good at what they do. And if you get the person who like has no idea what they're doing, you have to keep coming back until you get the person who does. Like not everyone is equal in their ability here, and Travis had a similar experience where he went into housing and it was like somebody who had no idea what they were doing. And then he went back the next day and it was like night and day difference. When we went back to like get our housing, like lease thing, whatever signed to move into our house off post, it was like the same person as day one. And he's like, oh no, like this isn't like, so
My
I think
favorite saying is, you don't seem like you can help me. I'd like to talk to someone who can help me.
Had to say that a few
that's
times.
good. See, I'm so like non-confrontational that I won't say that. I'll just like stick Trav on them. I'll be like, hey babe, they weren't helpful. Can you help me out here? And Travis is like, I call him my customer service warrior. So he'll go in and he will like make it happen because he has no problem. Like I
I
will
feel like
just
I'm
like
kind of
Ryan
the
gets
middle
legitimate
of you guys.
anxiety when I talk to customer service.
see, I get
I believe
legitimate
that.
anxiety. It's like I got so Ryan and I need to sit in like a corner while you and Trav like go handle all of the stuff. And I know like
We can do that.
the kids.
No worries.
So for us with housing, I have to do shout out, which Katie Jackson probably isn't going to listen to us, but it's okay. To Katie
Doubt it.
Jackson.
Katie, you're listening to this. I know it. I know it.
So
Yeah.
because
She follows us.
she messaged me and she said, hey, this is really weird because I don't know you, but I would love to drive you around base, show you all of the off-post neighborhoods, the different areas you can live in, like to give you an idea of what like it looks like before you start house hunting,
She's
like off
wonderful.
post, if you know
What
that
a
that's where you're going to
sweetheart.
be. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And she literally had an extra car seat for Declan. So like I didn't have to figure out like,
Wow.
yeah. So she
Amazing.
picked us up. We were in lodging and it was literally like 10 out of 10. And it was so helpful. And she told me
gem.
to shop around for realtors. She said, message them all, find out who you jive with because your realtor is your lifeline. If you have questions, if you have tickets, like if you're living off post, questions, tickets from driving high pass tolls, anything like that, you go to your realtor and your realtor will connect you, will figure everything out. Like that's who you talk to directly. So if you don't love who your realtor is, it's going to make working with them like really hard later on. And so she told me that. So that's exactly what I did. We went with this one company, A+ Realties, who we're using now with Gina, and loved her to pieces. She showed us like 13 houses. Mind you, we got here at the beginning of June. We did
That's so
13
nice.
houses. And
Wow.
she watched Declan the entire time Travis and I would walk through the houses. She gave water and snacks. And then we went on. Then we went to this other company and we just did not jive with the person who we were talking to and told him what we were looking for. I was transparent. I was like, we just looked at houses with like this other realtor, but we just wanted to see what you had to offer us. We wanted to see like if we connected with you, and told him I was pregnant. I had an 18-month-old. We had dogs. This is what I'm looking for. Homie freaking showed me a 3-story house with a 2-layer yard, like that had like a steep drop off. And I'm like, did you not listen to like what I just told you I'm looking for? What makes you in your right mind think a 3-story house with a like two babies?
Pregnant and like
Pregnant
babies,
makes sense.
dogs,
What makes
like,
you think a 2-layer yard with a steep drop off with dogs and young children like makes sense?
that's not what you
And that was like the
needed?
first house
Weird.
he showed us. And after that, Travis and I just went through the other 2 that he showed us. And I was like, I'm done. Like, let's message Gina. So one other thing I would say about housing that I wish somebody would have told us sooner, because housing here, if you are off post, you have to pay with Korean won. Like you have to get Korean won cash, go in, pay the realtor. There is this thing called GI bill pay. And it's a
I was
service.
just
And it's
thinking
like,
about this. Yes.
yeah, 7,000 won a month. And instead of you having to go get cash and then go to the realtors, you literally send them pictures of your bills, your water, your electric, heat, like all the things. And
Only the
they
first
can just
time.
withdraw
You don't
it.
have to do it again, which is super nice because they just track your bills for you.
Oh, yeah. But like if we get a ticket, because I get lots of high pass tickets,
So do I.
I just send it. I just send them a picture because I run out a lot and I just don't refill it. I'm like, they'll send me a ticket. It's fine. And I just take a picture and they do it for you. So if you don't want to have to go into the realtor's office, I think that is something that like
That's huge.
Yes.
is so nice. But we didn't start doing it until March. I think it was March or April. But afterwards, like it's been so nice because I just don't even have to think about it
Yes.
anymore. Versus like with the kids, it was so hard.
Yeah, trying to get that much money out of the ATM too, because there's always you can adjust your own bank limit, obviously, but like the ATMs on Post will only allow you to get the equivalent of $500 out in one transaction. So, if your rent's like, $1,500-$1,600, that's like 4 transactions at the ATM. You're just like, oh my gosh, this is like so much right now. Yeah. The other thing about housing and finance and all that kind of stuff is when you live off Post, you have to pay like a security deposit, and like, which is usually the equivalent of 1 month's rent plus prorated rent plus prorated utilities and all that kind of stuff. And I think, you don't know if you're going to have to do that when you get here because it's literally $0 to live on Post. And so if you're not, if you're not financially prepared for that, the Army does have contingencies. Like you can go to finance and you can get like I don't know, what do you call it? Like an advance. You take like your housing paperwork in there. You can get like an advance for your everything that you need. And then they'll just like take it out of your paycheck. Caveat. I've said that twice now this episode. Gross.
I didn't even know you said it
once. Finance here is literally the worst. It is
everyone here is literally the worst.
It's low tier. -12 out of 0. Like absolutely the worst. Like it is just so bad. Like we still 21 months in have not filed our travel claim because of how awful they've been. Army still owes us some money, which is super nice, I guess, for later. But yeah, like we had pay issues, like where they like took too much money out and then they didn't tell us about it. And then they were taking it all back without telling us. So our paychecks were all messed up when we got here. Like finance here is a little bit screwy, to put it the nicest way I possibly can. And so keep an eye, like a really like scrupulous eye on your LESs. And if you see extra money, like they're still giving you BAH from the last location, like put it in your savings. Like, you got to stay on top of your finances when you're like coming here, because I feel like everything gets all messed up.
Well, here's the issue is that for whatever reason, if you're a spouse here, you like pretty much can't get a job, but like every Korean in a 30-mile radius is employed on base, and they theoretically speak English, but in actuality, they do not. And they have no idea what they're doing. And they don't understand our government or our system or anything. And so you're just not going to get accurate information 90% of the time. So you're going to have to push, you're going to have to verify, and you're just kind of like almost just assume that what you're being told is wrong so that you can troubleshoot in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Because
know your policies and stuff too. Like go armed with information, or housing or the SOFA stamp office, wherever it is. Like say like, no, like this, have it in writing, have it pulled up on your phone, whatever it is. Like you're walking there armed with info.
You're just looking out for your family.
To act like a Karen about it. Like having information doesn't make you a Karen. Like you just like, don't be rude about it, but just be like assertive. Like, hey, this is what the Army policy says, period. Here you go.
Thank you.
That's good.
What about you, Leah?
Trav does all of that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Freaking A. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I freaking did. Trav does all of our hard financial stuff, so I haven't had to deal with any of that stuff. He's the adult in this marriage. But we had to ship pets here, and I had to do all of that. Like I had to figure out all of the pet shipping stuff. We have 2 golden retrievers, and like I said, we found out our commercial flights 36 hours before we were leaving San Antonio, aka not enough time to get my dogs on like said flights. We weren't flying on Patriot Express, so the dogs couldn't come with us. It was also the end of May in San Antonio, Texas. So the heat, it made it really hard. So if you have pets and you're coming to Korea with pets, there are 3 main things you need to do. You need to get a FABIN test, which is like a titer for rabies, to just make sure that your dog does not like have rabies, does not have history of rabies, is up to date like on their rabies shots. So you want to make sure that you keep your dogs up to date on the rabies shots, and then get a titer the titer test done, they recommend it's like 30 days after, or at least 30 days after the most recent rabies vaccine to make sure they have high enough levels. And that in itself takes a minimum of like 2 to 4 weeks, sometimes even 6 weeks to come back.
Dang.
So we got orders that we were PCSing here. March 8th was when I got like hard written orders, but we found out like the week before. So I started doing all of this research and like got my dogs into the vet, got their rabies shots, scheduled the like famine test. So I had all of that stuff done by before the end of March for them because I knew like it was going to be so quick and you cannot like get your dog approved or like on a plane to come here until you have those results. So I did that. And then you have to do health certificate screening for animals, dogs, cats, whatever. That is only good. You can't do it any longer than it's good for 14 days for them to travel once it's signed by a vet.
Like
So you have to
prior to
make
flying?
yeah. So like you have to make an appointment with the vet, probably military vet, because they're the only ones who know what they're doing. When it comes to getting a dog overseas, I wouldn't trust a civilian vet for that because they don't know the like
Paperwork.
intricacies.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
won't hear me say very often to trust like a military provider over a civilian provider. But this is the one area that I'm like, I would trust the military. But you literally have to go. They have to look over your dog, say your dog's safe to fly, sign it. And you have 14 days from the time that they've like signed it. It's 10 or 14 to get your dog on a plane, to get your dog off the plane through customs before it's not good. And if it's no longer good, then they won't fly your dog. So we ended up having to ship our dogs. We paid 10 grand. Yeah, door to door. Dude, we literally sold Travis's truck. He had like a new-ish. It was a 2020 Dodge Laramie. We loved it so much. And we sold it. And most of what we sold it for went to pay to get Dumb and Dumber here. I love them so much, but I wish we would have left them in the States. I love them so much. It's just their life here isn't super great because it's so hot. The weathers are so extreme because we're driving like used car. Like I don't have space for them and my kids. So they don't really like go places with us. Plus Koreans, like some Koreans have big dogs, but more often than not, they are like little dog people. So like seeing my big dogs in public is kind of like, yeah, scary to them. So we don't like take the dogs out, but that much. And again, it's so hot here during the summertime that like I don't want to take the dogs like outside. So anywho, we had to pay a pet shipping company and they did what was the name of the pet shipping company? It was Gina and it was First Class Pets was who we used. It was 10 grand, but they did everything for us. They picked them up. They got them to the airport. They flew them. They made sure all the paperwork was in line. They got them through customs here and got them to us. But you can also do it on Patriot Express, and it's like $200 a dog. And if you do it on Patriot Express, you have to fly with them. So a lot of times that equals you ending up driving to wherever the Patriot Express hub is to get your dog on the plane. So for us, that's one thing I wish somebody would have helped me with. You need a FAVN, a health certificate screening. If you know you're coming here, like I would as soon as possible do those things and like work like a dog to get on Patriot Express. So you don't have to pay to ship them because it is so expensive. But if you are going to pay to ship them, I really liked First Class Pet with Gina. So she is actually stationed at Camp Humphreys and she has a partner in the States who she works with. And so like they did everything for us then and like walked us through step by step with that. Yeah. That's what getting dogs here. It was pricey. One thing to know is like we've talked about with living, you don't know what living looks like. You don't know if you're going to live in towers. You don't know if you're going to live on post. You don't know if you're going to live off post. And I couldn't fathom when we found out we were moving here and people said they didn't bring their dogs. I couldn't fathom not bringing our dogs. But now that we're here, I'm like, if family would take care of them, 2 years isn't that bad, because then it would have given us more freedom. Like I felt like we had to live in a house, have a yard because we had the dogs. But there are times when I'm like, if we're living off post still, maybe living in towers in Techno Valley wouldn't be as bad. Because then when we didn't have a second car for 7 months, like we could have literally just walked everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't want to do that with the dogs, you know? So
It's stressful for him too. Like we had gone through the process to PCS our dog when we moved to Germany, but he ended up passing away like right before we left, which I'm, obviously like I still miss him. It's been a lot of years, but I was
yeah,
afraid he was pretty old. And so I was like afraid he was not going to make it. So I'm like
Mm.
happy that it happened before we left and that we didn't like get to Germany with like a dead
you're
dog.
stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be
So
awful.
trigger warning on that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like my
Yeah,
fear going back.
so yeah, we like kind of geared up for that process and then didn't end up going through it. But I was worried about him, even though he, even despite his age, I was just worried about the stress that it causes for them. Like, although it would be stressful for them to be without you too. So I think obviously that's like a very personal choice, very dog personality dependent too. Like if your dog's like your little shadow, probably maybe need to pay to bring him with you. But if your dog's kind of more like go with the flow, like, loves everybody, whatever, maybe that's okay. But yeah, I was just, when we landed here, there was one dog in particular that was just crying and crying and crying and crying. Like, I was so upset. Like, and I
Oh,
just
that's
felt
so sad.
so, my like pregnancy hormones couldn't handle it. I was just like, this poor dog is so sad. He wants his mom. I was just like, so, so sad about it. Meanwhile, I'm like stressed. Vin's suitcase is literally open on the conveyor belt with all our luggage, and I'm crying about a dog. So that's cool.
So maybe
That
if you were thinking about getting a pet and you're coming to Korea, maybe don't. Maybe
yes.
think about if that's totally worth it to you and to the pet, and maybe put that off for a couple of years. Or get
Well, I
one. There's
also
like a bajillion strays here. So like get one from a shelter and then you only have to deal with it one way.
Yeah.
I also like which traveling here is different than like if you were in Europe. But one caveat we have had having them is like again, depending on where you were before, you're having to figure out somebody to watch them, right? So like for us, we have to find somebody to watch our dogs if we ever want to go do something. And our dogs are low maintenance. They're little like love bugs, but like I can't leave Doke and Summer just out in the house and somebody come let them out. They have to be crated because they get anxious when we're gone. So they'll chew on stuff and they'll pee on stuff. So somebody needs to like either be with them or crate it. They need to be crated. But I don't love the idea of going out of town and then living in their crates and go, except to go out to pee. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's like the other caveat is if you want to travel or do overnight things or whatever, like that is something you have to think about. And they do have options here, but like for 4th of July, we went to Busan this weekend and the local like boarding place that they recommended that people recommended here was full because of all of the military people
Mm.
who are here using them. Yeah, that would be my caveat, and that's, like, my big thing that I wish somebody would have, like, helped me with, and I found out a lot on Facebook groups, like, I joined all the different Facebook groups and asked a lot of questions. If you want ease, shipping them is easier because somebody else will do it all for you, but affordability is gonna be Patriot Express, and that
Mm.
means you
Mhm.
need to be on top of the FAVN paperwork, rabies history of their health records, getting that health certificate. But what you can do is just call your local, like veterinary vet wherever you are and ask them, and they'll give you everything you need to know. Like you don't have to waste your time combing through Facebook like I did. You can call the military vet, and they'll tell you all of the paperwork that you need, like to have in order to do, because this is like literally what they do. Yeah. To transition, getting to Korea, one of the first things you have to do to like get to Korea, and I don't know if it was the same for you, Tori, coming like or for Germany, because you are not just Korea, but you're like just international in general, is you have to do the EFMP
Yeah.
process to like secure book flights, like to get stuff moving to get here, at least for us, which I know we're Navy and you guys are Army, so I know it's a little bit different. What was your EFMP experience like? And or do you have any tips to share with people about getting that paperwork done and processed in order to have a smoother time to get here?
Mm. As far as I'm tracking, all OCONUS duty stations require EFMP. My thing is like as soon as you find out, like if you're like, oh, we're going to Germany, we're going to Korea, we're going to Alaska, schedule an appointment with your provider because you're going to need within 6 months, you're going to need a checkup. and they're going to have to like, make sure you're basically need like you don't need a clean bill of health, but basically you just need like a recent doctor's visit for the EFMP person to kind of come through. And it really depends on where you're going. I think short of being stationed at like Landstuhl in Germany, like if you have any like really major health concerns that require like specialists, like a cardiologist or hematologist or something like that, that's going to be taken into consideration at your duty station. And a lot of people, so I actually have a love-hate relationship with this process because I understand like what it's meant for. And I understand like, you don't want to go somewhere and your kid needs, I know this is a big one actually. Your kid needs speech therapy, and occupational therapy, speech therapy is typically pretty hard to come by. Like there's not a lot of spaces available for it. And usually like you have to go through like the school to get it and stuff like that. And so, there's a lot of things like that. So if you know that your kid needs that and they deny you based on that, people get kind of upset, like, oh, like they're discriminating against me because my kid needs this or I need this or whatever it is. And it does really suck, like totally sucks to be denied or, whatever the situation is. But it's usually because there's not the availability. Like when we were in Germany, we had a little clinic on post and everything else, specialties were referred out. Pretty much if it wasn't like GP, everything else was like German doctors. And so, we didn't really have anything going on. Although I had to hound the EFMP lady like over and over and over and over and over. It was like actually kind of funny. We went through the EFMP process at Fort Huachuca both times. So that was interesting. When we were coming here, we actually had to delay our orders by a month because we were fighting with the EFMP process because I was on ADHD medications. But I wasn't seeing behavioral. I wasn't like needing a specialist. Like literally my like regular doctor was prescribing it like every 3 months. And that was it. And so, I'm reading through the policy and I'm quoting them this policy and they're like, no, you have ADHD. You need to enroll. And I was like, I will not do it based on principle because I don't qualify to do it. And I mean, we went back and forth for months about it. And finally, like it got escalated and escalated and escalated. And they were like, finally, like, okay, you don't have to enroll. And they approved our stuff and it rolled through. And then literally, I'm talking literally within like 2 or 3 days of our approval, I got pregnant with Charlie, or I found out I was pregnant with Charlie. And I wasn't on the medications anymore. So I was like, wow, that was all for freaking nothing. But I think it really depends on who you're dealing with. I know everyone's got an EFMP horror story, I feel like, where, it's just they won't call you back, or I don't know, that as soon as humanly possible, get your paperwork in because it's a multi-step process. And I know the Army, at least the Army, I don't know about the Navy, Leah, but there's like an online process now. When we went to Germany, everything was like old school paper,
Mine was
everything.
all
Like,
paper getting here.
yeah, so I know the Army has a
Same.
newish special system that like everything
Navy's
is
so
like,
old school, man.
which
They refuse to modernize, like refuse.
honestly, I really like the new system because it keeps everyone accountable. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, it was sent to such and such person on this day at this time. Then you could say, like, no one can say that they don't have your packet or they don't have this or they don't have that because it's all trackable in the computer. So, I don't know, start the process as soon as humanly possible, no matter where you're going. And then, if your orders get canceled and you had to go through all that for nothing, great. The sooner you get through all that and you get your accompanied orders, that's when you can schedule flights. That's when you can
Yep.
schedule all the stuff that you need. The more advanced that you can, it, I don't even, am I speaking English right now? What the heck? The more in advance that you can do that, the better, because you'll get that Patriot Express thing for your pets, or, you get to fly on the day
Yeah.
you want. You get to send your household goods out earlier, ship your car sooner, the sooner the better. Bottom line up front.
So, on that note, you can start EFMP before you have orders
That's
because
true.
we were in our marketplace and Ryan was like, I want to go to Korea. And I was like, hi, not want to go to Korea. And I was pregnant with KK. And so I was like, I was kind of leaning on the EFMP because we didn't have orders or anything. Like we were at that point, we were only considering Korea because we were considering Korea. So we weren't locked in at all. So I was like, well, we have to go through EFMP, and I had a condition with Reagan called cholestasis, and it doesn't show up till the 3rd trimester. So we didn't know if I was going to have it with KK yet. I didn't, because I didn't follow any of the doctor's recommendations, but that is a story for another time. My point is, I was really hoping to use EFMP as a way to disqualify us from Korea. I was hoping they'd be like, we can't take care of you because of this. But our EFMP process was honestly so smooth. It was too easy. Like, I kept thinking that I did something wrong because it was really easy, and I didn't get disqualified for being pregnant. So
For
here we are.
mine, I told everyone I was pregnant and freaking did everything that they told me to do. Got in front of the military doctor. He saw my belly and was like, "Oh, you're pregnant." And I was like, "Yeah,
Duh.
I've told like 3 different people I'm pregnant." And he's like, "Did they give you like this?" And I don't remember what the form was, but such and such a form to have your OB fill out. And I'm like, "No, they didn't." And he's like, "Oh, well,
Jeez.
I'm sorry. I can't complete your EFMP process until you have your
God.
provider fill out this form."
Boo.
So it took another like
Boy.
week and a half to get my OB to fill it out. Then we had to reschedule to get us here.
That is rude.
So yeah, I know. That's if
Super
you're
rude.
pregnant, I would just shout from the rooftops, like, make sure you blatantly ask, like, I am pregnant. Do I have the form, or what form do you need me to fill out by my provider to get approved or whatever? Because that ended up holding us up, because that was something additional that I needed and somebody dropped the ball. Because then that's what took ours forever, which is then why we didn't get our flights until we did or whatever. We had to drop 10 grand for our dogs.
Well, I think also like that kind of stuff changes a lot depending on provider availability here. So like when we moved here, their OB department was full of doctors and they had everything. I don't even know if it showed on my paperwork that I was pregnant, but let's just for argument's sake say it did. There was like 6 or 7 doctors in the OB department, but I think if you're pregnant now and trying to come here, they are not
You're
accepting
F.
like almost anyone on post
Mhm.
because they have like 2 doctors. So,
Yeah.
and that constantly changes because most of them are green suiters. They're mostly army doctors. And so it's like,
The hospital
army
on base is
doctors have to
15%
PCS.
staffed. 15.
Wow, what?
Yeah. It's not great, dude. It's not good.
Send help. Oh, God.
So
It's
so if
not.
you don't wanna be treated in the local healthcare system out in
Which you
South Korea
don't.
that is on medical
You
strike,
don't.
Which you don't.
and you have any type of concern or anything special that you may need to go off post for, keep that in mind when having these conversations for where to PCS next.
Big facts.
So one thing is, I think the last really big thing I want to hit on for this for people, which was like overwhelming for me, I don't know about you guys, is the sofa stamp and the ARC card. Sofa stamp is like a must-have. ARC card people say is a must-have, but if we're gonna be blatantly honest, your girl just got her ARC card like almost a year of living here. It can make life easier, but it's not necessarily like you have to have it. What would you say like y'all's experience with those have been?
I mean, sofa
Tori.
stamp sucks. Sorry.
No, sorry. I just
Okay.
figured because Tori lives off post, I was like, she
Yeah, I was gonna
probably.
say on post, the art card, I don't even think it's useful if you live on post. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think it's even useful if you live on post. We don't have one. But sofa stamp is like rough. So for reference, our sofa stamps may or may not have expired, and you're not supposed to let them do that. So I went to the sofa stamp office a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and I got there at 7:45 a.m. They opened at 10, and I was probably the 20th person in line. The first
What?
person in line, no, the second person in line had gotten there at 6:33 a.m., he said. And again, the sofa stamp office does not open until 10 a.m. And they only get through about 20 people each day, 20 to 25, I think.
Okay, don't even get me
So
started on this. Don't get me started on Mom
yeah.
Hall, you guys.
So your sofa stamp is just gonna be like, try and do it when like, even if your spouse can take a day of leave, or if your spouse can just do it because you're the spouse or the
Go to
active duty service
Osan.
member can do it.
I was just gonna say
Okay.
that. Go to
Go to
Apparently
Osan Air Force
Osan is
Base.
just as bad right now. That's
right
what
now.
people were
Okay.
telling me that were also in line. Osan is just as bad. You can go to the Pyeongtaek like immigration office or however you work. I don't know.
City
Someone
Hall, I
just
think.
posted about that in a group. Yeah. And apparently it's really easy. I mean, if you don't speak Korean, how easy can it be? So I don't know. But yeah, so
Trouble
sofa
living in
stamps just
Korea.
kind of suck, and don't assume it'll be easy, and try not to take your kids with you, or just make your service member go do it, because
It
it
did for us.
sucks. And we still don't have our new sofa stamps. But we came in from my sister's wedding on a travel tourist visa that'll still be valid when we leave. So I think we're just going for that. We'll see.
If it's legal, it's fine.
Maybe this episode shouldn't air until after we get out of this dang country.
I mean, if you're on a tourist visa, I think you're probably fine.
90,
It's
right?
technically
Yeah,
fine, but the Army loves to mess with technicalities. So
of course they do. We love the Army, LOL. So I'd
LOL.
say, okay, so something that I don't understand about the sofa stamp. So when you have to come here, one of the things we didn't talk about, but that you need to PCS overseas, and they just changed this like
Oh,
before
no
we moved
fee.
here, the no fee passport. Yes. And it
Hmm.
comes when you apply for it and it comes back, it comes with a sofa stamp in it already. And so
Is
What?
that new?
I
Mine
thought,
didn't.
I mean, maybe I know my German one did. I'm like 100% positive my German one had it. But I mean, I'm gonna have to go find my passport now and look. TBD. I'll
Yeah.
add it to the show notes if this changes. But the only reason I got a sofa stamp in my tourist passport is so that I wouldn't have to carry two passports when I left the country. That was literally the only reason.
That's
So
really
what
smart because I
confuses me
didn't.
is
Because
the
I
no
asked
fee
them,
passport.
Well, because that's
there's no
supposed to be
point to
your
it.
sofa
The
stamp.
government's
That's
stupid. Yeah.
That's supposed to be your sofa. But because like Charlie, when he was born here, so I had to go get a sofa for him in his passport because he doesn't have a government passport.
Hmm.
And he
So,
doesn't
and
need
then,
one. They say you don't need one. Like KK is the same way.
yeah, it's weird
So
because when
stupid.
they won't let you come here without one. But then, like, when you get here and you have a child here, they're like, it's fine. We'll just put this little stamp in your tourist passport, like, whatever. But yeah, when we went to Osan, we were literally like, there was nobody in line. I just like walked right up, gave them my paperwork. They were like, you need one more copy of this. So I ran to the like USO on post, ran back. There was one person in line ahead of me, got it done. It was really quick. But art, let's talk about art cards really quickly because if you live off post and you want your kid to go to Korean cultural school, you need an art card because you get like tuition discounts. Like,
It's like almost free for a lot of them after like 2 or 3
oh my
months,
gosh.
right?
So, it depends on their ages and it depends
Okay.
on the city. So I know like we live in Asan, so we fall under the Asan government rules. So both of my older two used to go. Now only one of them goes, but I'm trying to get my son was almost old enough to qualify for like the reduced tuition, but his tuition even with that was I say only, and I know you're gonna have to convert this for people listening. It's
Convert it.
450,000 Korean won every month.
Okay, I'll
Which
convert
So
is
it while you're
like
talking.
yeah,
$350, give or take.
approximately, which when you think about it's full-time preschool Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. approximately. They have a cook
Close, $325.
$325 US equivalent. That's the full price, like for no tuition reduction, which I still think is like an actual steal. But with the art card, it's 85,000 won a month per child,
Which
which
is like highway robbery.
it's like
Great, but like that's
$57
so
or something
crazy.
ridiculous. I know. I feel like but so the government supplements, and I asked one of the Korean teachers one time because I was like, why does the government do this? Like, I don't understand. And it's because the birth rate in Korea is so low. So they're trying to like
Hmm.
incentivize Korean families to have more children. So they're like, oh, hey, if you have more children, we'll like basically let your kids go for free. And when you get the art card, it's alien resident card. That's what it stands for. You basically qualify for things that like citizens qualify for. And something that it's been helpful, like when you're on Korean websites, if you're trying to order from Coupang or I don't know, I've ordered from like iHerb. I know like G Market is one. There's like all these different websites that you can you can link your ARC to your phone and it will verify
Hmm.
your identity for you. So like I couldn't order off of like iHerb or like Timu or anything like that without a personal customs clearance number. You used to be able to use your passport number, but now
Yep.
rules changed. You had to get a PCC. But I couldn't verify my identity to get a PCC like until I registered my ARC with my phone number. And then everything since then has been like so easy. Like I was um able to get that PCC like super quick, like 5 minutes I had it. And
She
I know
orders stuff
some
for me all the
people
time.
I'm happy to do it. I think other people, like if you're using like Naver to schedule reservations for restaurants and stuff like that, you need an art card. So I think there is some benefit. And I'm sure, I mean, we haven't really come across this, but I'm sure there's like discounts too. Like when you go to like museums or like something like that, you probably get a discount if you are like have like a citizen ID. It's also, here's one more thing. If you're coming back to Korea and you don't have to wait in the long, long customs line. You could just flash your little art card because that's your Korean ID essentially. You can just breeze right through. So there are a
Okay,
lot of
on that
perks
note though, if
depending.
you have kids in Korea, you can take the handicap line and then you're also not waiting. Do not
That's so
ever
nice.
wait in the long line in Korea with your kids because they are your ticket through.
Thank you,
I feel
children.
personally targeted because I've waited in the long line every time we've come back into Korea. And I got sent to the back of the line once because I didn't fill out a stupid little paper for Declan. And I
That's not
said, they told me
okay.
you didn't need one. And she said, I was at the gate, the little immigration counter. And she said, well, you do. You need to go fill it out. And I had to go to the back of the line and wait again.
I would have been like, what? As I'm writing at the immigration counter.
Yeah, I should have.
Yeah.
I should
Oh,
have.
what does this say? I don't actually know. What am I supposed to write right here? Like, can you help me? Like, just furiously
That's
write it really fast.
Those are such good life hacks. Those are such good life hacks. We don't have an well, I have an art card, but I just got it because I didn't feel like waiting, and I didn't feel like driving to Osan Air Force Base to do it. But I know you can also get a Korean bank account, and so, like, some parking garages only take Korean cards. So if you
Ugh.
don't wanna have to
And you
deal
only
with
park in them on bad days. It's like a rule. It's only
Or
on
when you
days where it's
have to
gonna make
get
you
somewhere.
cry. Yeah.
So if you don't wanna get stuck in a Korean parking garage, getting an art card can be helpful to have a Korean bank account just in case. That's like to me, that's like the biggest pro would be having it for that. Like my neighbor's really good and she got hers real fast, but I have one. I still haven't got a Korean bank account. I don't really use it. We've been here a year. So I think there are a lot of pros. I would say if you're going to do your sofa stamp, get everything together, do your art card at the same time and
Yes,
drive to
100%.
Osan. Like
That'd be smart.
if you want to do both, fill out the work, do it both at the same time.
Mm.
And then it'll be fine. Versus, I think that the most daunting thing for us, why I never pursued it, was because it was like to go wait, to do your sofa, to go wait to do your art card. But it's like if you just take it and you go do it all at once, like it's easy
Get it
street.
through.
And
Yeah.
the rest, yeah.
One little thing, one little caveat, since that's our little buzzword for this episode.
Okay,
Caveat.
literally, you both have said it like so
You should
many
make a
times. Ever
drinking game
since
I
out of
know.
it.
you said it, I've noticed it.
Take a drink every time we say
I think
caveat.
it's gonna have to go in the episode title. Caveat.
It's gonna be
Caveat, what
Ryan's
to
new hated
expect in
word, not
PCS.
like.
So every single time I've been stuck in a parking place, some really nice Korean person has come and used their Korean card and we've just given them cash. In fact, it happened to me, Alyssa, and Haley when we went to
Yeah.
A
the
tea cafe.
Kids Cafe.
yeah, because
Yeah.
Leah was smart and she parked on the street because she was
Yeah.
so freaking smart. And Haley and Alyssa and I got stuck in the parking garage.
They were like, it'll be fine. It was not.
It was
Also,
not fine,
sometimes
but
if you just speak English into the thing long enough, they're like, whatever, just leave. Like, they just get sick of it.
True.
That's
We've
what I
done
tend
that
to
like
do.
3 times.
Because
I don't
sometimes
know.
there
I
is no
can't
one
help.
behind you and you're just effed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are nice Korean people here.
There are some nice people. Okay, last chance. What is one must-do tip for PCSing to Korea? Do you have anything else that's like you want to drop wisdom on somebody coming here that we did not discuss on before we wrap
Don't
up
do
this
it.
episode?
Don't do it. Alyssa, wait for
Oh my gosh. Wait for the cons episode, you guys. 2 episodes from now, Korea cons coming at you hot.
Okay, I'd
We
say
always
keep
eat
an
frozen
open
food.
mind. I'm gonna go the high road here. Keep an open mind and don't have expectations. Like if you can go with the flow
Less than
and let go of
expectations.
your control and just be like, okay, like everything around me feels like it's on fire sometimes, but it's okay. It's fine. We're
It's
fine.
fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything is fine.
What about you, Leah?
Mine's the same thing. I think a must-do tip is, I think, keeping open expectations. I think utilizing your military resources. Like if you have
That's a
pets,
big one.
the vet. What's that website? Can you mention that website again? Remember, it was Facebook group or something.
The PCS, the car one.
So we had that one, but then there was a website you talked about in the last episode. Not a website, a Facebook group on somebody who it's
The
like for PCS.
PCS. Yes,
PCS like a
it's
pro.
yes, PCS like a
PCS like a pro.
pro, your smooth move. So there's two groups and she kind of runs both of them. But the one that's more like has like a lot of policies and stuff like that in it and like is more of like a helping group. I actually don't even know what the difference between these two groups are, but Megan Harless,
I
I
don't
think
either.
is her name that runs the group. But yeah, PCS like a pro dash your smooth move. That's like an amazing resource for literally anyone in the military moving, period.
Great.
Okay, wait. I have a
Yes.
real tip. Pack air purifiers. Get really
Oh, that's good.
air purifiers. Like spare no expense.
Yeah.
We did order off of Coupang our air purifiers, which they do great. But we do a lot of diffusing in our house too. So like we brought all of our diffusers. So instead of like us getting a top tier like air purifier, I've kind of like met in the middle and have
Mm.
like a regular one, but then we diffuse all of the time. And I let the essential oils help do the work for some of our air purifying too. And our air purifiers have done good. Like our air
There's some
purifiers.
good plants you can buy too that purify the air. Snake plants, pothos, rubber trees. There's a whole like list, you can Google it, of like different air purifying plants.
People are always selling theirs when they leave.
Oh yeah, or giving them away.
Yeah.
Something that I did recently, because we were gifted like a big air purifier when my neighbor moved, but it like needed a new filter and they just apparently don't make filters for that one anymore. So I went to the PX and I bought one of the blue air purifiers and I price matched it on Amazon and it was so cheap. It was like, I mean, cheap. They're normally like $400. I think I got it for like 98 or something like that. It was like such a good deal, but I got it on the spot. So like I was able to like walk in the store, get it off the shelf, pay the Amazon price and walk out. And it was great. And
You go.
I've had it for like 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. And it's only used 15% of its filter. And I have it on like blast all the time. In fact, I'm like, why is there no sound in here? And it's because I turned it down literally yesterday.
And you said you noticed a difference
Okay.
too when you got that
So
one.
I did a huge difference. Yeah.
it
A
is
huge difference.
time for our Momtroversal moment where we share those parenting stories that make us laugh, cry, or just say, yep, that's mom life. What is a Momtroversal moment that you guys have had this week?
I had my in-laws here this week and we went to the Harry Potter Cafe in Seoul and they gave Reagan some jelly beans on the way out, just like a thing of jelly beans. And we don't do dyes. So I told her, I was like, they're play jelly beans. And she goes, no, they're not. I want to eat them. And I was like, well, you can't eat them because it's not good for your body. And she refers to herself as Dolly's mama, her Dolly. Like that's how she refers to herself, not like I or anything. She's Dolly's mama. And so she goes, well, Dolly's mama says that Dolly can have the jelly beans. So I can have the jelly beans too, mommy. And I was like, no, that's Dolly's mommy's decision. But your mommy's decision is that you can't have the jelly beans. And it was hilarious. But also like, you are.
Dolly's mom said.
Yeah. Dolly's mama.
So funny.
That's adorable.
Had a moment this week. Declan has started doing this thing. He loves waking up Ella in the morning. Ella is 10, almost 11 months old. It's freaking wild. And he woke her up one morning this week and he went into her room and he said, Sissy, I miss you. I miss you, Sissy. Sissy, wait, I miss you. And I was like, I freaking love that they love each other. Okay, hold on. I have a second one too. And the second one is when we were in Busan Declan was running in our Airbnb, like from the bed to the bathroom to the bed to the bathroom, just giggling. Ella was crawling, chasing him, like
How
giggling him.
cute.
So I have a video of them, like a minute and a half of him running to the bathroom. And then he's like, Sissy coming. And she's going like to get him. And then they're both going, and then he turns and he
That's
runs
My
back, and then she
God.
turns out
sweet.
crawling. He goes, and it just made me so happy because like I know that they're still young and I know that there will be conflict like there is with all siblings ever, but like something that's real big to my heart is I want them to love each other. Like I want them to truly like ride or die, have
Yeah.
a good relationship. So I've worked really hard to be like, this is your baby. This is your sissy, you know, and like being,
Mm.
even though she doesn't understand, but being fair between them so he can see that. And so when I see those moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, you love her, it just makes my heart want to explode with
It's
happiness.
so much fun when they start playing together like that too. Like that is my
Oh,
favorite.
I can't wait till it's like a full-time thing. Right now it's Sissy, no! Sissy, no! Don't break that! Sissy, no!
It only goes up and down from here.
So true.
So I think mine for the week is on Saturday, we went to Seoul to see like a professional rugby game, which was really cool. Korean sports, like I was like had very much like American sports in my mind where I'm like, oh, do I need a clear bag? Like I'm gonna leave my water bottle in the car so it doesn't get confiscated. Like, had all these things. Literally, no. Korea is so wholesome when it comes to this. Like they didn't even look at my bag. Everybody's bringing their own drinks, bringing their own food. There was somebody there with a baby stroller. I was like, what is life? But anyways, we go to this rugby thing and we're sitting like literally in like the front row. Like we are seeing these guys like smash into each other and it was great. Well, they started chanting this chant and it's like, I don't know the whole thing, but it's like not some of it, all of it, like that. And Johnny, so Johnny went with David to, so David plays rugby here on the Stars and Stripes rugby team. Johnny went with David to a practice one day and like all the guys on the team were like showing him how to throw and like it was really cute and they're like, you're a rugby player. So he's like, Mom, I'm a rugby player. Like he's like totally all about it, right? That he's like screaming this chant. I mean, he's like just like his whole little heart out. He's like, not some of it, all of it. I mean, like just absolutely like full send. Well, later on, we drove to Yongsan and went to dinner with some of the rugby team later. We're walking back to the car, and out of nowhere, he starts chanting it again, like at the top of his lungs. And so him and David are just screaming this rugby chant, and it was just like the cutest thing ever. And I just loved it. I don't know.
I love
My
that.
little 4-year-old rugby player.
That's so
I
cute.
love it.
Yeah.
Freaking love it. We have loved unpacking the wild, unspoken sides of parenting with you guys today. If you have a mom hack or a secret that nobody has shared or a PCS tip and trick that you want to share, hit us up on Instagram at Momtroversal Podcast or YouTube and TikTok. Stay real, stay curious, and join us next week for some Korean pros and cons. Until then, keep it Momtroversal.